Hey. Hello, everyone. Thank you. Good afternoon. This is how much time we have to prevent dangerous levels of global warming. We have 6 years. I'm Favianna Rodriguez, artist and activist, and I come from a community that has been plagued with inequality and pollution since before I was born. And that's a neighborhood in Oakland, California, United States. And I became an artist precisely to tell the stories of those who are marginalized. And just a few miles from my home, white communities were protected while communities of color ingested toxic fume. Next slide. My work has been shaped by the legacy of the Black Panthers and the artists of the civil rights movement, and I'm continuing that legacy today. And as an artist, I know that stories change people, and people can change systems and behaviors. Next slide. At my organization, the Center for Cultural Power, we are guided by a fundamental truth, and that is that culture moves faster than politics. In fact, cultural change precedes political change, and culture influences both the economic and political sector. In other words, policies are ideas whose time has come. But in the cultural space, we normalize those ideas. Next slide. And we absolutely need artists and storytellers, this very, very powerful force, to help us shift our mythology and imagine a future where together we can thrive with nature. If we are to combat the climate crisis, we absolutely have to harness the power of artists and cultural workers. Because we know that the dominant story of extractive capitalism is accelerating the climate crisis. And in reality, the climate crisis is the consequence of a story that we're all familiar with. And it's a story that certain bodies, certain human bodies, animal bodies, forest and ocean bodies can continue to be exploited for the benefit of a privileged few and for the concentration of wealth and power. So we absolutely need a cultural strategy that lifts up those who are most impacted. So what does this look like? Next slide. In my community in Oakland, California, we have been plagued by a lack of trees, and this is due to systemic racist land use policies. And so how are we going to weather heat waves that are here and that are coming without trees? And so in my community at an elementary school, we planted over 80 trees, and I painted a mural in collaboration with children in which they imagined and they thought about how they feel when they connect with nature. Next slide. And what it means is that art allows us to imagine something different. The power of art is that it makes tangible things that might seem impossible. Next slide. I'm going to show you a little video that shows you a partnership that I just finished with the Presidio National Park, which is one of the only urban national parks in the United States, and this is in San Francisco. And so I created a project in partnership with the Presidio in which we put art throughout the park to honor the creatures that were there before colonization and to acknowledge how colonization destroyed ecosystems. And this project was done in collaboration with the indigenous stewards of that land, the Ramaytush Ohlone. And what it allowed us to do was to bring forward a process where we are able to see the creatures who were impacted and who were really massacred and throughout the region we call today San Francisco, and to help facilitate a conversation around the contemporary impacts of that. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. And finally, The power of art is that not only can we reach small communities, local communities, but we can also reach millions of people. This past spring, my organization partnered with Good Energy to produce the Hollywood Climate Storytelling Playbook, which is a tool for screenwriters to be able to talk about climate in plot, character, and setting. Now, Hollywood, in my home state of California, is one of the most powerful cultural industries in the world. Hollywood is setting global narratives, but Hollywood's track record on climate is horrendous. Between 2016 and 2020, only 3% of all scripted television and film even mentioned anything related to climate. Less than 3%, and only 0.6% even said the words climate. So we are not going to win on climate without a pop culture strategy. We are not going to win on climate until we first transform ideas, and the people who can best transform ideas are artists and cultural workers. Next slide. We cannot win without culture, because culture makes the impossible feel tangible. It is my honor now to welcome to the stage my colleague from the Center of Cultural Power, Jeannine Keyembe-Oro.
Hello, everyone. My name is, back a slide. That's me. My name is Jeannine Keyembe-Oro, and I'm the Senior Program Manager of Climate Justice at the Center for Cultural Power. I am a queer, Congolese, and Filipino activist and artist from Los Angeles, California. I've been formerly incarcerated and impacted by violence, food insecurity, and displacement. So climate justice has become my lifestyle in order to survive. My life showed me how all of these issues are intersectional, because these oppressive systems work in tandem with each other. I moved to Philadelphia in search of my artistic career, which led me to co-founding an urban farm. This used to be a 3-acre dump site that we transformed into a cultural hub. Only after 3 years of employing, and I'll say it again, employing young people, hosting cultural productions like music festivals, poetry readings, jam sessions, we were able to lower and decrease violent crimes in our neighborhood by 15%. The road to climate justice is racial justice, paired with economic justice. And the vehicle to take us down this road is art and culture. At the Center for Cultural Power, under our program Climate Woke, we produce content and host events for and with our Cultural Power Network. Because the climate world has historically been white-led, we created Climate Woke to center the stories of the most impacted, who historically have been Black, Indigenous, and people of color. Climate Woke is the intersection of racial and climate justice. It's not just about the stories that we're telling, but it's about who is telling them. We need entertainment studios to prioritize the hiring of Black, Indigenous, people of color, production teams, filmmakers, writers, illustrators, so that those stories are for us and by us. We need to mobilize resources for these artists of color and value them. We need distribution opportunities so these stories aren't just on YouTube, so that they can reach the masses. At Climate Woke, we focus on content that's related to Indigenous sovereignty, Black liberation, and climate migration. And it is these types of narratives and cultural strategy that can shift the world view and move people towards climate action. And I would be remiss as an artist to talk about arts and culture without giving you a piece of my art today, so I'm gonna share a poem if that's okay. And this is called Gold Nile, so fitting for the moment. Give us back our gold, everything you stole. We want 40,000 acres, cash, and everything you owe. I want my gems and my stones. We want back Pharaoh's bones. All of that art you stole to claim them thoughts your own, and it was supposed to be my throne. So give us back our gold, everything you stole. 40,000 acres, cash, and everything you owe. I want my rings and my robes. We want our pots and our bowls. I want those crystals off of your phone. All of the books that you stole to claim that knowledge your own, but it was supposed to be my people's throne. So give us back our gold, everything you stole. We want 40,000 acres and cash and everything that you owe. Thank you.